Let there be light, and there was light. Okay, so I am Crimey Queen. If you're joining us for the first time, this is the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. Okay, so we have been exploring the characteristics of the gods, the 14 gods of Genesis. Now, so far we have done quite a few. If you're joining us for the first time, we are talking about the God who breathed, the God who planted, the God who saw, the God who said, the God who caused, the God who blessed, the God who formed, the God who divided, and the God who created, the God who moved, the God who made. And so we are looking at this. So I have just done a presentation on the God who planted, which I'm very excited about. And the God who planted, of course, has come to number 9. And we have seen that the God who planted always seemed to have had a plan, or he always had a pan because he was going to cook what he planted. He knew about ants, of course, and it's no wonder in the Proverbs as well, we often talk about observing the ants, and they will tell us how to live. They will learn a lot through the ants. So the planter also knows a lot about ants, because the ants, they work, but they also save for rainy days. And so this is what the God of planting does. And this is where as well we are told about replenishing, meaning the God who planted would know about the God who bless, because the God who bless, there is an aspect of less in the word bless. So the God who planted, and knowing about the ants, he knows that planting is going to take a while before it becomes fruitful. But while it is in the process of becoming fruitful, he would know how to preserve for those days. Preserve meaning having enough food in store for when he reaches that stage, because it would seem like inevitable that for the planting process would require a certain degree of time before it bears fruits. So whether he would do it seasonal or whatever it is, he would need to have a plan. So there's a lot to learn from the God who planted. And now there's the thing as well, which is very important for us to remember, because the purpose of these presentations is to really highlight to us that the story we were given, where Mother Eve is the one who ate of the apple and was responsible for our sins. Of course, we could see here as well, Mother Eve is as I said before, she's the serpent, she's the serpent, she's Eve, she was like Job's wife as well. She's so basically Mother Eve is one of knowledge, and she is one of psychedelic nature as well. So she could shed her skin at one time she's old, and the next time she probably is walking around with some thin skin on. So that I'm talking of thin skin, there are different attributes in that personality as well. So one can become thick skin and one can become thin skin, where they become very sensitive, hence the term. So we are talking about planted. Now all those things were planted in man from they were created. So the God of planting, we need to remember we are the makeup of those gods. So it is important that we understand how they operate, or how we can access their abilities or talents, attributions or contributions for our benefit and for mankind as a whole, because now we are talking about the whole. So it's where the more we know and study those gods, the more it would be beneficial for us. And that's what I am seeing here. We would learn about the land with the God who planted. We see about the pan, and here, of course, there's the word. There's a pan. The pan, or having two sides to something, or the fun side of something, or two ways of seeing something. We have tan. We have, meaning we are dealing with temperature or heat, whatever creates tan. Okay. And we have lentil is the word I think I was looking for in the past presentation, because I am thinking there needs to be a degree of light in the word plant or planted, so the light to represent the sun, to bring life to the trees. So I'm not sure if, I think lentil is the word, L-A-N-T-L-E. I am not so sure if I am spelling this right, but it's lentil, T-L-L-A-N-T-L-E. Okay. So I've just put it here, but I'm just believing, well, if there is tan in itself is really very self-explanatory, in the sense that it is already saying to get a tan is really from the sun. Thank you, Mother Eve. So there was something that I wanted to point out, because I have done this, but the number 9, and of course we have tap for water, representing Mother Eve as well. Tap. The word tap is also in the word plant, because you need water for the plants to grow. So planted equals 9. And 9 has taken the whole, and it's, of course, I think it's 7 letters. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7 letters, which is representing Mother Eve, the serpent. So the serpent equals 7 and is of 7 letters. Okay. And which is a present. Don't we always give people gifts, plants as gifts, or flowers as gifts? That's what it's about here. Okay. Now, what I really wanted to point out here, yes, so I wanted to highlight that the sacrifice template right now, this is meant to be for our north, south, east, and west right here. Our north, south, east, and west. Okay, so sacrifice template, the word sacrifice consists of, I believe it's also 9 letters. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 1, 9 letters, and it's numbers from 1 to 9. Of course, it equals, I believe it's 46. But I also see when you add 4 and 6 together and have a which equals 10, I see 10 as the symbol of the 0 and the 1 stuck together to form the 9. So that's how I see it. They all interrelated. Okay, so we can see that planting right here would take the whole aspect of the sacrifice template. It will take where we do the jazz, where you are having fun planting, but you need to have 2 seeds. Then you have the luck, of course, because you need the weather. The luck would perhaps be that it doesn't rain too much, or you have enough sunlight, or you have things that are beyond your means. But of course that they work out for you. You go through a developmental stage. The plant goes through a developmental stage before it can produce any fruits. Of course, when you have fruits, you are seeing your new fruits. They are seeds right there. This is where they have the seed and you can eat of them. You need to be as wise as a fox, so people don't come and eat all that which you have labored hard for. You need to be wise. You need to be cunning. We say cunning, but now cunning is like being a snake in that sense. I think this is where you become a qualified snake like Mother Eve, in the sense that you have been the snake on the ground, and then now you are the serpent goer who have taken its rise to the tree, where you exerting wisdom without hurting anyone, without being malicious or greedy or having guilt or being judgmental and so on. So you go on to doing your gypsy journey. You are qualified spiritual gypsy in this sense, because you are on this journey. You are taking your rides from dimension to dimension, the 8th dimension, the 5th dimension, into the 3rd dimension, because you still exerting and needing those qualities, because it's like everything else. We're still on earth and we need to deal with earthly things. Then you have your headquarters zone. You understand now that the sacrifice is what it's all about. It's not a big deal like it was before. You are happy to pay your dues. They are not, in fact, you're doing it so joyously that it's not, things don't seem like in a hierarchical way anymore. It's just that, it has been part of the memory, if you like. It's been in your makeup, but you are at liberty to, just like there's the parable that Christ, it's not a parable but the example, what I want to say here. There was one time that the scribes and the Pharisees were asking Christ or about paying tithes, for instance, and the disciples really, I think, were questioning Christ too about it. But however, Christ did ask his disciple, well, who's in the kingdom, for instance. I'm paraphrasing here and may not be in exact terms, but basically Christ was asking his disciples, well, all these tithes or whatever is being collected or offering, who is it meant for? It is for the kingdom. Well, who's in the kingdom? Are we not the ones in the kingdom? Well, yes. Well, should we be paying tithe? Well, the answer is no, because everything is yours. You are in the kingdom. Everything is yours. You are at liberty to have everything. But Christ said, this was the wisdom that was exerted then, but he said to his disciple, all right, what you do, go cast your net or wherever it is, you will see a fish, open its mouth and there'll be a coin, and give it to the elders in the church just to keep them quiet, so to speak. This is why you could see that fish equals abundance. A lot of, well, I was trying to work it out as well. Apart from that, I've always known that when one dreams of fish, it equals pregnancy. But we can see that how that is abundance as well. The fish is really, the coin was taken from the fish's mouth, and so there we see that that equals abundance. We see that on the tarot card with the cups of the Prince of Cups. So the Page of Cups. So basically we could see right there is that it is important that we understand the full essence of when we are in the 5th dimension and on how to operate when we are in the 3rd dimension. It's not about being arrogant, or it's not about being or perceiving yourself in a certain or better off or whatever it is. Although in some case I would say yes, we are better off in the 5th dimension because we have learned all the lessons that a lot of people have not learned yet, and perhaps they have come here not to learn but to teach people like us how to master the art of getting into the 5th dimension. So their purpose was not to get into the 5th dimension. Their purpose was to teach the fire, to put the wood to heat up the fire, so to speak, to ensure that you are jumping up and down in the fire, so because you don't want to get burned. So we all are here to teach and to learn in different areas. So I wanted to really point that out on planting, because I felt that planting was offering so much. So there's an ice age with planting, and so there we see the temperature as well, because this is where it goes back into one again, the sac and so on. So we go through the cycles again. Remember, when we are here, we are new creatures. That's where we are new. We are coming from here. We are the eye, the third eye, coming from here and going into this new stage again. Okay, hope you like this. This is where we were at. So so this is the God who planted. So I felt that it was necessary to do two videos on the God who planted. So if you like this video, plant by sharing it with somebody else and click the like button and spill over with love. Thank you. Let there be light, and there was light.